Welcome once again to our series where we talk with our Monday CRM partners. Today we have representing Wikky. I hope I pronounced it right. We have Omara and Alona. Please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your story and a little bit about the company.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Amara. I am from Costa Rica. I'm the founder of Wikky. We started almost 5 years ago in this journey, and we've grown with Monday and the ecosystem. And we are an agency specialized in Monday.com implementations. We have two bases, Latin America, Costa Rica, and Cyprus. We're a global team. Everybody works remote. And yeah, happy to be here.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm Alona. Originally, I'm from Ukraine, but I live in Lisbon, Portugal for a while. I am with Wikky since 2023. I am a solutions architect, so I do pretty much of everything. And yeah, I'm happy to work in such a diverse team and working with such a product as Monday.
Awesome. And also you're a former Monday.
Yes, I was a CX agent in Monday.com. It was actually a Ukrainian team, small team. So yeah, I know the
Very
product before I started working with Wikky. So happy to work with it.
amazing. Yeah, so thank you for the intro. So one of the things that we're trying to do in this series is focus on different industries where Monday is implemented. Uh, we talk a little bit about prior to this conversation about your focus and kind of the type of clients that you get to work with. Can you tell us about it and we'll kind of take it from there?
Yeah, we've done several industries, but I would say that the ones that we work the most are construction, manufacturing, and education. Today, we'll be happy to share our experience with education. We've done several big projects pushing the boundaries of Monday, doing things and models like scheduling. Scheduling is really complex, and that happened in Monday. And we've seen how companies in the education industry are looking to use something that is more flexible, easier to integrate than the legacy solutions, because it seems like that industry has a lot of old legacy solutions or new startup, very new products that are not really reliable, maybe not for the long run. So when they dedicate to customize Monday, it seems to be working.
Amazing. So just kind of to, for my angle, that's extra interesting just personally because my degree in university is in education. And every time, everybody talks about, especially government stuff, it's always old school. Everybody criticizes in every country their education system because it's always old school, it's always slow, it's always spending too
Yes.
much money, all these things. And when we're talking about introducing technology into these industries, I'm like extra interested in that. So I love this topic. Is there a reason why you got into it, or were it just kind of randomly customers just came in, or someone got interested and you kind of went with it?
It was coincidence, I would say, but I guess small wins. I remember I did a project. It wasn't for education, but we did a scheduling model. And this was the proof of concept that the scheduling can be happening Monday, like scheduling with different resources by week, by time. And then when we originally started on Upwork, so somebody contacted me on Upwork, and it was a project about education, and they said, I don't know if this is possible in Monday. And I said, yes, I know it's possible because we did something else, a proof of concept. Their scale was a lot bigger. But then, yeah, I think that's how it started. And after one, then you just have a little bit of momentum, right? You have referrals, and then you have, whenever you're interviewing with customers or potential customers, they like that you've done the industry, right?
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
this, the same came up with other conversations previously. People were in law, like a different partner that was specializing in law. They just did one case. And then suddenly, once they had this already like their own plan, it kind of led to more customers in that. So traditionally, it's funny to say traditionally because the tool is not that old, but the CRM is obviously more related to sales. And here we're talking about education, something seemingly completely different. Alona, maybe you can say, like, how do you see these connect? Like, why, how, what does an
Yeah,
implementation of Monday CRM look like at an education realm or industry?
yeah. So I think like one of the biggest misconceptions about CRM for education is that we cannot sell CRM to educators because this is not a sales industry, which is not true. Because even though sales industry is not traditionally B2B, it requires also nurturing, it requires communication back and forth with the students, with the educators, with the parents. This is exactly what CRM is for. Sales pipeline management, because you need to manage the student journey from the beginning to the end, manage all of the communication in one place. So it's sometimes, unfortunately, this is something that blocks a lot of educators because um, educating system used to be very static. A lot of formal communication, a lot of paperwork, a lot of things that are going outside of the system. And people now expect the same speed as they expect from SaaS platforms, but also from educators. And I think that Monday CRM is the perfect playground for it, is the perfect ground to combine, um, all the databases, all of the communication, everything in one place for the team, transparency and speed. So I think this is the perfect product.
So you're talking about actually like the communication between the teacher and the students and
Yes, actually, between the teacher, the students, the team who is involved, and also the setting up Monday. So the middle ground. So everything comes together here. We don't have to switch platforms. We don't have to, have a lot of paperwork. Everything comes in a CRM. So I think it works great for this specific industry, even though it's not very traditional.
no, I love it. And so that kind of begs the question, who is the actual, like, who is your customer? Who's the person who approaches you? Is it the school itself? Is it the someone from the Ministry of Education? Or like who are you working with?
At the moment, private institutions. So, like, yeah, the clients will be just the directors, sometimes the fractional CTO or COO, people that know that there is a better scene for the technology that they're currently using, because these industries are very profitable, like most of them. And sometimes they even belong to franchise, where the franchise inherits the software. This was the first case, and then the company is just stuck in that system, and they know that technology is way ahead, and they decide to do the jump and the investment themselves, right? That was the first scene. Franchisee, I guess, is and also franchisors. So the people that own the franchise and they want to replicate and use Monday for all of the different locations. This has been also a use case, because with Monday it allows them to have control, to give like the way that they want to operate, the terminology, their KPIs, and then every time they open a new location, it's so easy to deploy, right? Either if they have their own Monday account or under the same of their franchise.
Got it. Yeah, that's so kind of an outside force that kind of comes from the top and disseminates the technology across the board. Um, so how have you seen um, this kind of the people who actually have to use it eventually, like the end users, I guess the teachers, the students, the parents, whoever it is that eventually come across, have you seen a change in how they like over the years? Is it now easier to implement? Was it shocking at the beginning? Like, do people come,
Um,
does it come easily to them?
Every change is different. I mean, it's a friction. So I think always at the beginning there is a lot of friction and a part of adaptation, because the solution, I mean, the CRM is not just for the intake, it's also for the maintenance, for the customer support, for the day by day meetings, right? And nowadays, a lot of these industries are doing the sessions like us remote. And with Monday, with the note taker, for example, they can record all of these sessions and keep them in one place, right? So it's like they're doing these Zoom calls, and then the historical of what all the different members, right, is right in the middle of it. And because it's a multi-product platform, it allows them to, even when they're in the intake stage or in the operation, it allows them to have visibility about when did this relation started? Is this customer also had other kids with us? And this kind of centralized, right, in one place. And in this industry, I see also that a lot of turnover. So like tutors or consultants, right? And the companies need to have one CRM that has visibility for what the previous consultant or the previous tutor spoke with their client. And that's what the CRM allows them to do, right?
Yeah, no, it's just interesting how it's the same as if an employee would have been replaced at the company and they still need, the new person comes in, they still need to know everything that happened in the company so far. Um, we kind of touched, this kind of leads to something maybe Alona touched for a second before, about how these specific, the CRM is kind of built for sales, but eventually it's similar processes, tactics that you can use even in other systems. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that of of similar tactics or approach that salespeople take that you can implement uh,
Mhm.
in this case. So,
I think the main point of implementing the system is removing friction, is to set the communication transparently across the team so they will see everything in one centralized place. And so, similar to the sales, so that the team makes sure that the lead doesn't fall through the cracks. The same goes for the students and parents. So, this is one of the main tactics. It's removing friction, removing also manual, work where it's reasonable and where it's needed to save some time for the team to focus on, strategic, on partnership, on nurturing rather than admin. And yeah, just making sure that all of the data is safely stored into one system, transparent for everyone. Everyone can see it. Everyone, knows what everyone is doing. So yeah, this is the strategy that I think is the core strategy of the sales, is the core strategy for us to implement the system, and it works for educators. And yeah, this is why we bring CRM into the place.
amazing. I'm kind of like thinking on top of my head here, but have you seen maybe something in that from your history with those systems and these types of customers that actually you learn from there to translate to others? You mentioned construction, you mentioned manufacturing. Um, we just talked about how sales tactics work also here, but is there something there that you can maybe take to other industries as well?
Um, Automations, probably.
Okay,
Lots of automations, especially for constructions. Everyone works with teams, so this is what unifies, all of those use cases. There are still similar approaches to different industries and how they communicate. Automations, notifications, I think databases are very important in all of those industries that we worked in. Um, but yeah, I think automations, notifications, maybe even external automations we do make sometimes. Sometimes for construction companies or something, that requires a lot of autonomy, automations are key. It may be less so for educators, but it's still sometimes we do similar approaches on how we connect the dots using external automations as well.
cool. So have you just a kind of a story time? If you do you have a story comes to mind where you saw a setup of someone, maybe a customer came to you that they already have Monday or maybe a different CRM system, and the setup was just, I don't know, either crazy or weird or surprising, or maybe you were didn't expect this type of implementation?
Yeah, for me, I had this memorable experience where it was a tutoring school. So the number of variables is a lot. It's like you have the parents, the students, the tutors, the sessions, and every tutor has different skills. So it was a very big logic for the scheduling and for change requests. So in this industry is a lot of like customer service for like my son cannot go today. Can we push it for next week? And then one spot is available. We have to fill it. So it took us some time. It took us like 8 months to a year, I would say. And I thought we pushed the limits of the platform. It wasn't designed for this, but the project manager was super tech savvy and she knew what she wanted. And she believed that she could, and she actually made it. And her vision was really clear. Like she wanted parents to also have a portal where they can see what is the real time availability of their resource, which is hours. So the parents have 3 kids, they purchase 50-hour package, how many do they have available? And she had this vision that she wanted to see. So we did it with Monday and Make, really, really reliable in Make. And I think that's one of the strengths of Monday is their capacity of integration, right? So it's not the platform that does it all at all, definitely, but it's the one that is an ecosystem where all of the different platforms like note takers, calls, they can live, right?
Yeah, that's kind of wild too. It kind of brings me back to my early days of programming a little bit, and at some point you get introduced into this like, hey, you have to create something with such a complex logic and so many variables and so many that just even just thinking how to represent it in one system is crazy. And I understand how long it takes to figure these things out. Um, One of the things that we kind of keep hearing about, it's obviously the buzzword is AI. Do you have any, it's kind of an open question because it can literally, I'm curious to where this even takes you as to where do you come across it? Do you see it? Do you think, um, obviously with Monday, but also in general, maybe in the how it relates to the industry and how do you see it's going? Like people use it? Does it something people talk about in this field?
Um, I feel like people talk about it everywhere. It's such a buzzword these days. Uh, yeah, in this specific industry, I feel like AI should be, like a silent personal assistant. Um, it can drive summaries for the calls. It can also have the deal health, for example, if we work for school who is trying to enroll a student. We also can use AI to categorize, to summarize, to create those metrics. We also started investigating Monday MCP. This is something that got just recently launched. So we are also investigating how we can help, to look into the databases and provide some valuable insights, like in maybe outside of Monday's UI. But yeah, in my opinion, AI should be, silent personal assistant, automating reporting, drafting some communication to save teams some time, maybe improving follow-up timing by, if there is a conversation, it can analyze the behavior of the conversation and, improve the follow-up timing because of that. Yeah.
In my experience, what I have been seeing is that automation comes before AI. So first, because AI is more expensive, it goes by credit. So for example, extracting information from a PDF, we could do that as an automation and do how it will have a lower cost than with AI or classifying, categorizing, right? And also, if we want to use AI, so let's say we have a student that's been with us for a year. If we have an automation that takes all of the transcript of their calls and put them in the log of the student, we're able to say, what's the health of this student? Who's being the counselor or tutor that he matches the most, right? AI can do this, but only if we did before the automation to have all of these logged there. There is another example of a college preparation case that we had. In college preparation is a lot about dates, right? Because the students come and they have a list of the universities that they want to apply. When are the deadlines? And all of the next deadlines are all of these. So we have a database of college database in the US, all of the colleges, and it depends also in the school, right? When is the different type of applications that they need to do. So if, and again, there is human and automation in each database, in this database that has like, when are the next dates for applying, right? So then if a human comes and said, okay, I have a student, he wants to go to medical school and he wants to apply, or he'll be ready to apply X, and he has a score ACT X. So in AI, because Monday has AI, right? Then he says like, this student is looking for a college that goes around this rank. What would you suggest, or what are the options? And then AI goes to the database that we have in Monday and then comes and suggests. Otherwise, this search will take some time for the human, right, to go in there and do various filters.
Yeah, I would assume when usually, again, traditionally with SaaS selling, just regular use, I would say, we always think of like, let's automate everything the quickest, the easiest, just 2 clicks, and Monday does a lot of that. But obviously, when it comes to such, like your industry is so heavily based on just people and human interactions, you can't just like set up everything up and forget. Like there's probably a million new cases that maybe you didn't think of with the automation, maybe just a unique situation, maybe the bigger the human touch, the less you can automate it. Am I correct in that assumption?
Yeah, I would say that the bigger the human touch, because let's say the quality of the tutor and in education, it's about the human, right? But that doesn't, I mean, it's like parallelo. We're not replacing human with AI and automation. We're just replacing admin work. Like that tutor ends with the 3 students, and he has to go and make a report and update and all of these in the hours log, because hours is the biggest resource. So all of this part of the admin is replaced, but the class is provided by a human, right?
Yeah.
Um, mhm.
Yeah. So we talk a lot about different features and obviously capabilities. What is your kind of go-to? You heard that maybe Monday released this feature, or maybe you used it multiple times before, that this is just like your go-to thing. You love to use this feature. Maybe it's kind of underestimated by others. Something that you're kind of excited about.
I think it's not something that got just recently released, but emails and activities,
Sure.
people in my experience, when we set up CRM, people often underestimate emails and activities, and they say they just got used to, speak in Outlook, on Gmail. They don't see, they got used to their own ways, and they don't see like why we need to learn new tool. It will be intimidating. It will be difficult. We cannot connect everything. But then when you actually show them how it's done, you actually see that every communication is logged in Monday, and you can also see it in Outlook or Gmail. Boom, everything is in one place. You don't need to switch platforms. And this is actually what I kind of use. So yeah, I think emails and activities, for me, to be transparent. It's not very new, but it's a go-to.
No, I love it because the kind of the basic fix is there's like genius to the simplicity, right? Like eventually,
Yes.
like that fixes you, saves you the most time and hassle. So great. Omara,
Yeah.
something comes to mind?
Well, I'm super fan of the note taker, because for a long time I have seen the need of having the summary of the call in the CRM, right? Like that's like, for me, it's a must. Like, how can we have recordings and note takers just stand alone as a system? Like they need to be in the place where we have everything, right? So for me, the note taker now that is coming and converting these projects or these meetings into actionable items, for me, that's I think the key that was missing the engagement.
Nice. And kind of before I move into the couple of last questions, we kind of didn't touch on it so far, but I was just kind of curious to the general connection between Monday CRM and the Monday work management. Um, Can you maybe share a story or just in general think of situations where you see the implementation of both cases with your the people you serve?
I
Mhm.
can think of a few. And is one, the conversion. So from the student sales pipeline, right, where the parents are negotiating and after the parents agree to work, a student is seen as a project in the use case that I said about college preparation. So that's a project. It has a start and an end. It's normally 1 year, 2 years. So then we use work management to have that project as a board. We use the portfolio to know and to use the capacity manager. So to know what is the tutor that has this skill, mathematics, that is available for next August. And then this is seamless, right? So sometimes, or one of the benefits of Monday CRM versus another CRM is that it's multi-product. So they are doing the intake of the client in Monday, then the execution, which is in the work managed, and later even the in service, the ticketing, right, for any complaint that the parents have. So that multi-product approach is super beneficial because nowadays companies do not have just one product, right? We in our phones we have tons of apps, and it's okay to have multiple systems as long as they speak to each other, right? But
Yeah.
integrations are expensive, so you can integrate work management with another CRM. It's going to cost you. So having everything under the same ecosystem is is very beneficial financially.
I love it. Okay, so just before we kind of wrap up, I love these two last questions because I think they give a clear understanding of or an actual tactics that people can use. And so the first one is, how do you define success? So um, obviously, if the students or the school, or maybe if it comes from above, it's a franchise, like you mentioned, how do you know that you did a good job and how do you measure it?
I think the definition of success of implementing every system is that the people use it and the teams trust, the teams use the system. They may have questions, they may come back with questions, but we know that they use it. And this is how we think that we did a good job, because you cannot build something good and, if people don't use it, they can just abandon the system, because it may be a bit complex, intimidating, everything basically. But if people adopting the system, they adopting their use cases and they are curious about it, this is the definition of success for me. Omar, what do you think for you?
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, of course, I have the same sentence. So the best system is the one that your company uses. It can be Excel. There are so many profitable companies with Excel, and that's the system that works for them, right? It might not help them scale easily, but it is working, right? It makes them profitable. And I would say that the usage is in both seats, in the management part and in the user. Because if the managers at the end of the day ask the employees to print me a report or make me an Excel, or then they're managing in out of Monday, then that's not success, right? The manager, the executive team needs to be reading their reports on Monday. For me, that's success, right? That's really applying. And that the onboarding time is short, meaning that it's intuitive. This is another metric of success, because that's what a lot of companies are afraid of, this turnover. Like, oh my God, I'm going to have to hire another tutor or admin person. It's going to take me months to train them. If the system is intuitive and people can just, in a couple of days or weeks, learn to use the tool, that's success, because the engineers are doing very hard work to make things easier, right?
Right. No, I love it. And do you have ways to increase that implementation or I guess encourage people to use or something?
Executive
Um,
team. I'm sorry, Elena. For me, it's like since the beginning with the managers, it's like I would like if we can join your executive meetings at least at first to help you read your KPIs. Like, what are the KPIs for each of your roles? So when you meet with them, let me guide you and train also the executive team. That's one of the strategy.
yeah, I feel like training is the integral part. You need to not only build a system, it will not do its job without people, and people need to know and understand the system. So um, for the people to trust you and the system that you built, you need to train them well. So yeah, I think this is also one of the important parts to the success.
So hands-on first and then slowly once people understand how it's supposed to work and they see the results and they're using it, then it kind of, I'm guessing, as a wave, especially if it comes from the top uh, throughout the organization.
True. Yeah.
Okay, so last question, which is my favorite one, is how do you audit a new customer, whether they don't have a system at all and they're just trying to implement it for the first time, or maybe they have something, whether it's like a legacy thing or a different CRM. What are the first things you even look at to understand how to tackle this project?
One of the first things, so the starting point depends on, on the starting point. Legacy, either the people who are completely new to Monday. If this is a legacy system, I think we usually look at the board structure, at the folders, at the hierarchy, at the overlaps, maybe in automations. If the team actually know exactly what each stage means in their workflow that they have, is it clear who owns, each step, who is the owner, and is there any important things that live outside the system? Because it's also important to understand external tools that they may have connected or not may have not connected, and they just use it, just copy paste manually. But if it's someone new, we just try to understand all of the tools, everything that they work across different platforms, or they just rely on paperwork. We just need to understand at the core how the team works, and not how someone thought they should work, if they work with a system or. So at the core, we just try to understand the workflow specific of this specific team, how they work, and how we can help them remove friction.
Mhm. I will also add that in the system, or when you're starting the digital process and journey, it will only reflect what you have on the paper. It cannot be, it doesn't reinvent the wheel. So if companies do not have processes, if you come and you ask them, and what's your sales process, what's your sales funnel, and they have no clue, then that's a bad indicator, right? We need to write down, because what we are going to do in the system is put in automations and the structure what they have in paper. So if they don't have that in paper, we need to start from there, write down their processes, so that we can, the system will only reflect how is the company organized, right? It cannot solve an issue that it's a process issue, right? If the process is not written, is not mapped out, not a diagram, that it cannot be fixed, right? The system will not do it.
Got it. So how do you do it? How have you operated so far? How does it actually look like? And what are you actually trying to achieve? And only then what our system can do for you based on all of this, which from previous conversations, even that process, if that's before you implemented one board, just that process kind of for a lot of people illuminates like, oh, we've been doing things the wrong way, or maybe an older system became kind of hijacked the process just because that's how maybe legacy processes and systems work. And you kind of have to stop for a second and say, like, wait, what are we even doing here? Before you
Yes.
start implementing something that takes potentially 8 months to implement. Obviously, like a touch base, a critical touch base is important. Any last words before we finalize this conversation?
Hmm. Well, I would say that every company, even though at the beginning we all follow process like an intake process, every company has its own way to operate. And at the end of the day, that's what really are people looking in Monday, right? Like they want to measure hours in the way that they do with the formula they do, and that's what Monday is good, right? It helps them really customize and democratize software, right? Like the company slogan. Yeah.
Yeah, true. I feel like there is no wrong industry for Monday. Even education, something that is not traditionally believed to be suitable for CRM, it works perfectly with CRM. So yeah, we strongly believe that there's no wrong workflow, no wrong industry for Monday.
Amazing. Love hearing that. So Alona, Omara, thank you so much for joining me. And thank you for people who listened so far or will listen to this future episode. And yeah, thanks.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Put it, yeah.